entertain a motion to open the zoning board of appeals.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
First case is,
Make a motion to open case number 4313.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to waive the reading of the abutters in case number 4313 and take the answers to question 8 as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to read this. Public hearing will be held in Town Hall Conference Room B, Room 301, third floor, 10 Pearl Street on September 5th, 2024, at 7:30 PM on the petition of Dwayne Ripley and Naomi Smith, case number 4313, for a special permit under the Town of Stoughton zoning bylaw of November 18, 2015, as amended Section 3.0, Use Regulations 3.3, Accessory Uses 3.3.2, Special Permit of detached accessory building or structures which exceeds 900 square feet of gross floor area or exceeds 1.5 stories or exceeds 20 feet in height shall require a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeal in order to construct a 30 by 50 garage, detached garage located at 1286 West Street, further identified in the Assessors Plan 38, Lot 30, in an RA zone in said Stoughton. Any person desiring to receive further notice concerning this petition as provided by the general rules of the Zoning Board of Appeals should file a written request containing his or her name and address to the board. Petitioner is representative or any other person desiring to be heard in this matter should appear at the time and place designated. Sherman Pro Chairman was in the Patriot Ledger August 21st and August 28th, 2024. Is Mr. Ripley, Mrs., want to come up to the desk and explain what you'd like?
There we go. Good evening. I'm Dwayne Ripley, owner of 1286 West Street. Yeah, the plan is just to build a metal structure garage on a concrete pad just for vehicle storage and lawn equipment storage for our property. The structure will be 1,500 square feet, and the peak of the structure will be 21.4 feet high, exceeding the height limit.
Okay, questions?
It's just one level, right?
Yes, yes, it's one level. It's just the peak of the building. I'm trying to do a 5.2, 6.2, 6.12 pitch, so the peak is for snow load. There'll be no second story.
Thought that was going to be. But you're not going to have a floor on the second part?
No.
Anything else, Emil?
No.
Marguerite?
Just that the plan that you submitted says that the height is 4. The plan that you submitted says the height is 14 feet, but that's just for the structure of the building, not including the roof. Is that right?
Correct.
That's the only question I have.
Jeffrey?
I'd just like to clarify, there'll be no water or sewer hookups to this garage?
No, none whatsoever. There will be electrical hookup, though.
Electrical. Okay. And no, I think So we're just finishing the last couple of pages here, and I think I have all the questions I need answered. Thank you.
I do have one question for the board. If I was to change vendors, I'm working with another vendor on a quote, would that be, it would be the same type of structure, same height, same dimensions, it's just for pricing purposes? Is that an issue?
Would that mean a different set of plans?
No, it'd be the same set of plans.
Okay.
They would build off these plans.
If we were to write a decision, we reference the plans, so
Okay.
we don't reference the vendor, so you
Okay.
would be fine in that
Okay,
regard.
thank you.
Jake, you have any questions?
No, I don't. I had all my questions answered.
Okay. Here comes Meany. Can you tell me how high those garage doors are going to be?
They're going to, excuse me, they're going to be 12 feet wide, 12 feet high.
The what?
12 feet high.
You know, what do you plan on putting in here?
A truck, a farm tractor, and my lawn equipment and my ATVs.
What kind of truck?
It's a 2500 diesel Chevy.
I'm trying to figure out why you need 12-foot doors.
My farm tractor has a little backhoe on it, and it's always, when I use a standard garage door, I'm always have to drop the backhoe, lower it to pull it into the garage, and it also has a roll bar safety equipment that I always have to drop to pull in a standard garage, so I wanted 12 feet, just so I don't have any clearance issues.
You don't plan on doing repair work out of here, do you?
Oh, no, too old for that.
You going to have water in here?
No water.
No water?
No.
Drainage?
No drainage.
And you're going to put a front porch on it?
That porch is debatable.
Huh?
That porch is up to, I'm probably going to delete it at this point. I don't think I need that accessory. That was drawn up in the original plan, so.
Sherm, I have one more question, if I may, while you're thinking. You mentioned a truck will be back there, and I was just kind of studying the last plan of your property. And, how do you plan for the truck to, traverse, to the rear of your lot? I see your driveway only goes up to your house.
Well, actually, the driveway is a horseshoe driveway that's paved all the way to the back of the house.
Oh, okay.
And it's a two-car garage house on the back of the property. So it actually candy canes back into the house, and then there's actually a dirt circular driveway that, kind of goes around that yard area. So it's all like just gravel right now. So it's kind of, we use it to turn vehicles around,
Okay, so you don't, I see there's a septic, a leaching field or a septic tank in there. You're not gonna have to.
No,
traverse over that.
that's actually under the yard right now, which is not going to be, this building will be like approximately 75 feet from that leach field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like you have a great size property.
Yeah, it's an acre and a half, full acre and a half, so
Okay.
There's plenty of room. Yeah, that, I measured from, the where the leach field is actually off the house, and then that is all grass, and there will be no excavation in that area.
Okay, no, that's helpful context, thank you.
As long as you brought it up. The driveway comes up to the garage that's there now, or the barn that's there now, at the house.
Yeah, so I don't know if you, on the plan, I sketched it out. The original plan from the town did not have the existing house that was proposed. And that was built many, many years ago, so the garage is actually on the back side of the existing house, the two-car garage. And the building I'm putting back on the back side of the lot there.
But
Is that what you're asking?
that's the way you're going to be driving to the garage by coming by that, and you're going to drive over the septic system and stuff?
No. The driveway actually goes on the, if you were to look at the property from the front, maybe I can show you. Yeah. So, can I move to the screen?
Just take your speaker with you.
Okay. All right, so this is the property. So the driveway comes off here, off the main street. It actually goes all the way down around, and it actually circles here. See this tree? Circles behind the tree and comes back into the building here, like that. And so it's basically candy canes. And then here is a gravel driveway, like a circular gravel. And this is where my plan is to put the structure here. So you'd be going on this gravel structure. And the septic system that you're concerned about is, the leach field, I should say, is approximately under this tree here area, which is lawn. This is all lawn. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Okay. Anybody in the audience have anything you want to ask or questions? Oop. You have to come up and identify yourself. Oh, you don't have to identify yourself.
Jason Dino, 1308 West Street, and I'm the immediate abutter to this gentleman's property, and I have zero issues with this garage. Thank you.
Okay, what's the wish of the board?
Before we do that, Mr. Chairman, can I just confirm with the petitioner, other than the garage or the porch, is there anything else about the plans that you are considering not complying with?
No, that would be the only change.
Okay. So I have been hearing potentially 4 conditions, and I just want to make sure that everyone agrees and that that's not something you're objecting to. So there would be no second floor, no water, sewer, hookup or drainage proposed or constructed, no repair work to be done within the garage, and that the garage will be built according to the plans with the exception of potentially the porch, construction of the porch.
Yes, that's correct.
Does that make sense to everyone else here?
Sounds good to me.
Is there a second to that?
Make a motion to approve with those conditions?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All set.
Thank you.
You can't start building yet. You have to wait until we write a decision,
Okay, and that,
which will probably be for the next meeting, and then there's a 20-day waiting period.
okay, thank you. To clarify, so do I have to attend the next meeting for the decision, or will the decision be mailed to the house, or do I attend the next meeting?
Decision will be for the garage.
No, he said mailed.
Yeah.
Would it be mailed?
Mr. Chairman, do you want me to answer that?
Probably the building inspector will notify you once we sign it. So it's, like I say, if we're lucky, we'll have it for the 19th. It'll get signed the 19th, and then you have a 20-day waiting period. And in the meantime, I mean, you can go up and talk to the building inspector. Probably, we'll be back to the middle of next
I
week.
can explain it, Sherm, if you want. Once they write the decision, it's going to be on the night, most likely they're saying on the 19th meeting they'll be signed. Then that decision then typically the next morning will then be recorded at the town clerk's office. There's a 20-day appeal period. So theoretically 20 days from the 20th or whenever it gets recorded. End of business day, so it's literally from the day it's recorded. It's 3 weeks, you know. It's because you can come on the 21st day. You need to then go pick that up at the town clerk's. It is $5 fee, and then you will then need to take that decision, if not appealed, and it's certified. They will give you one. You need to take that to the Norfolk Registry of Deeds and record that decision. Once that's recorded, then it's fully approved.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
That's as long as your neighbor don't get mad.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open case number 4314.
Motion to open case number 4314.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to waive the reading of the abutters in case number 4314 and accept the answers to question 8 as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing will be held in Town Hall Conference Room B, Room 301, third floor, 10 Pearl Street on September 5th, 2024 at, they're both at 7:30 p.m. on the petition of Glenn Rupp, case number 4314, to appeal the building inspector's decision under the Town of Stoughton zoning bylaw of November 18th, 2015, as amended in section 10.2, enforcement appealing the building commissioner's notice of violation letter in order to allow an earbub in lower section of an owner-occupied raised ranch located at 101 Nickerson Drive, further identified in Assessors Plan 90, Lot 134 in an RB zone in said Stoughton. Any person desiring to receive further notice concerning this petition as provided by the general rules of the Zoning Board of Appeals should file a written request containing his or her name and address with the board. Petitioner or his representative or any other person desiring to be heard in this matter should appear at the time and place designated. Sherman Upro, Chairman, was in the Patriot Ledger August 21st and August 28th, 2024. Mr. Rupp here?
Mr. Chairman, before Mr. Rupp speaks, should you read the letter that's under appeal to the record?
I'm sorry.
This letter.
Mr. Glenn Rupp, Nickerson Drive, Stoughton, Mass. Here, Bob at 101 Nickerson Drive. Dear Mr. Rupp, the above-mentioned property is being rented online through a website, earbub.com. This use is not specifically addressed in the Stoughton bylaws, but is not allowed by the determination of the Stoughton Building Commissioner. You may appeal this ruling to the Zoning Board of Appeals. As owner of the property, you are hereby directed to cease and desist from renting the above-mentioned address as an earbub within 30 days of this letter. Please feel free to contact this office should you have any questions concerning failure to comply with this order or result in a fine. Matthew Raposa, Code Enforcement Manager, and it was sent out June 17, 2024. Okay, Mr. Rupp, would you like to explain why?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Glenn Rupp. I'm a lifelong Stoughton resident. I also have family that still lives in Stoughton, and my dad, Wayne Rupp, was very well known throughout Stoughton in the 90s and part of the Chamber of Commerce. I've lived in my current residence for about 10 years and really enjoy Stoughton and would like to stay, but along with inflation, property taxes, insurance, and utilities have all doubled in cost, but unfortunately my income has not doubled. We started the Airbnb over 2 years ago to offset inflation and added cost of living in Stoughton. The Airbnb is on the lower level of our raised ranch with its own private entrance. We live at the end of a cul-de-sac with a driveway that fits 6 cars that we only use for 1 car, so parking is never a concern or a problem. Most of the guests come in 1 car as our policy is max 2 guests at all times. We have a strict and very enforced policy of max 2 guests, no parties, and quiet time between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. In the 2-year span, we've never received 1 complaint from any neighbors or Stoughton residents. There has never been any noise disturbance, loud cars, fights, or parties of any kind. This Airbnb is owner-occupied, which plays a big role on keeping everything in line and making sure guests comply with our rules. As you could see from our listing, which can be publicly viewed online at airbnb.com, we have over 200 flawless reviews and a 4.99 rating after over 250 guests, which is close to impossible to maintain, but we put a lot of effort into this and take pride in providing a comfortable, safe place for people to stay when needed. The duration of the stay can range from 1 to 6 days, with 3 days being the average. Our guests come to either celebrate a birthday, anniversary, go to a local concert, or a sporting event. We like to suggest local businesses in town like Town Spa and Amelia's, and we've gotten great feedback. I think the exception in Stoughton for Airbnbs should be that they must be owner-occupied and maybe limit the number of them allowed in Stoughton. But I don't see one legitimate reason that we should have to stop ours, seeing how we haven't bothered 1 person in over 2 years of doing this. I've printed out our listing with our rules and other information if you guys would like to view it. And I also have a letter written from the neighbor directly above me at 100 Nickerson Drive that he wanted me to give to you guys today as well. Or I can read it to you guys either way. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Emil?
So you have 2 means of egress in that unit?
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's a walkout, full walkout. It's not bulkhead. It's full walkout with a slider and multiple windows, means of egress, and another door. Yes.
That's it. Marguerite?
So I think we do need anything you want to submit for the record. So if you want to
Sure.
bring that forward.
So this is just the house rules, listing information directly from our listing online. Sketch of where parking usually takes place too, which I could show you on the map as well. And then this is the letter from my neighbor.
Okay, it's got to go, has to go to the chair. So while he's looking at that, I do have a couple of questions
Sure.
procedurally. So this appears, I know you dated it July 10th, but it looks like it was filed with the town clerk on July 19th. Is that right?
I would have to confirm with, I submitted all my documents with them, so I don't have them in front of me to confirm that, but yes, I believe I did it within I think they gave me 30 days to submit all the paperwork, and I did speak with the building commissioner on that as well, so yes.
Did you file it with the town clerk on the same day you filed it with the building commissioner?
I'm not sure. I went to the zoning board, and they instructed me on exactly what to do and how to do it.
And do you remember going down to the town clerk's office and filing it on that day?
Yes, yeah.
So our application has a timestamp from the town clerk's office of July 19th. And if that's the case, then that would actually be beyond the 30 days, and that's why I'm trying to figure this out.
I spoke with the building commissioner directly. You can confirm with him, but I saw him before that 30 days, and I said I may not make it within the 30 days because it took, I think, 1 to 2 weeks to get the butters list. And he said, don't worry about the 30 days. That's fine. Because getting the butters list took like 1 to 2 weeks. So, but he does know it was past the 30 days. And he gave me the okay on that, verbally here.
So unfortunately for you, he's not here tonight, so I can't check with him, but the statute's pretty strict and the letter's pretty strict, so I'd want potentially to think about maybe asking him that.
Of course, I understand.
I'm not trying to not believe you, I just think that we need that for the record.
Of course.
His confirmation.
I understand.
My other question is, or I guess comment, is that I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at our zoning bylaws and our use regulations, or if you talked to the building commissioner about that.
Briefly, he kind of explained to me the Airbnb situation is still brand new, so you guys are still working through how to deal with it all exactly. So that's all he kind of explained to me.
So if you do have a chance, if we do decide to continue this, if you have a chance to take a look at it, it's section 3.1.1, which talks about our use regulations. And what it says is that anything that's not specifically provided for in our table of use regulations is prohibited. Now, I'm not suggesting that you don't make a legitimate argument to have this as a use that might be regulated. It's not our control to change those use regulations. It's the planning board's purview. And it may be a legitimate request for you to make before them. I think they're also looking for members, so maybe you might want to think about participating in that way too for them.
Sure.
It ties our hands, that's the problem. And it's frustrating sometimes as a board member to feel like there seems to be a legitimate argument being presented to us, but our hands are tied because it's pretty explicit here, so.
So Airbnb specifically are written into the bylaws already?
I don't believe they are. Maybe I'm missing it. I don't think we have anything about Airbnbs. So the problem is that the language says that if there isn't anything about the use in the bylaws, then it's considered a prohibited use. So what that means is that we probably, as a town, need to think about adding that as a use that we regulate in some way. And you've certainly presented some compelling arguments about ways that that could be regulated, but that doesn't come under the law. It comes to the planning board to establish that change to the bylaw, not to us. So it'd be a different board and it'd be a different process, but it makes it very difficult for us because we're subject to what we have here in our zoning code that we have to enforce.
Mm-hmm. So would it be a special permit that I'm applying for today, or that doesn't apply because it's not even written in
It's not
yet?
even an option.
So how could he technically force me to stop it if it's not written in anywhere?
Because of the language that I just referenced. It says in 3.1.1, except as provided in the zoning act or in this bylaw, no building structure or land shall be used except for the purposes permitted in the district or described in this section. Any use not listed shall be construed to be prohibited. So it's that sentence, that last sentence, that basically is, unless it was somehow in our table of use regulations, it would be considered a prohibited use. So there's no option to apply for a special permit. There's no by right ability to.
So it's really just too new to,
It's really something that would require a different process with a different board, but sounds like maybe there's a legitimate need for that.
yeah.
And it's just from the perspective of what's before us right now, your application to change the building commissioner's opinion, his opinion is in line with what our zoning code says.
Right. And you guys will speak with the building commissioner after today's meeting as well regarding his thoughts.
So I'm happy to think about continuing this to get his opinion on it, because, before we take a vote on it, to see what he has to say and
Sure.
find out if he's had any opportunity to speak to the planning board about it. We do have the town planner here, so since he's here, I'm happy to ask him if he has any thoughts about this too. So, Bill?
Did you look at 7.4?
Marguerite, this is,
7.4.
I know this has become an issue. Our code clearly does not list it, so it's prohibited. One of the things that I am currently working on with a consultant is looking at rewriting and drafting a use table that is more in line with uses that we have now. Currently, in my code book and in Jack's code book, who's the building commissioner, obviously, we have handwritten notes of legal determinations that, adult daycare has been determined that to be under this, and that's no way to run the code. So we are, I am actively working with a consultant right now on a new use table, which, we would look at, adding this. Because I know that this is a code enforcement issue, not just with this gentleman, but there's been numerous, numerous code enforcement actions on this. So we're going to look at that. And in addition, at the same time, we're going to be looking at the accessory dwelling law that was just passed by the state. And the reason that this specific use dovetails into that is just because under that state law, it specifically states that accessory dwelling units are not intended to be short-term rentals as defined in whatever, and that's Airbnb. So the conversations I've had is when we look at doing the accessory dwelling, we also, since it's state law specifically references a use that we don't have listed, that we need to look at addressing Airbnbs at the same time.
Yeah, so
but I will let you know the process is, if I can get it done, is I have to have drafts done by, probably around Thanksgiving to the beginning of December. I have to advertise a public hearing. Excuse me. The planning board holds, because changing a zoning bylaw takes 2/3 town meeting vote, and that would be at the annual town meeting in May. And the planning board reserves the two meetings in January are strictly for town meeting items, any zoning bylaw changes and that sort of thing. So the earliest we would have something would be, would be the end of November to beginning of December, and then hold public hearings on it. And then it would go to town meeting, and then it would need to be approved by 2/3 vote. That's a tough bar to get. And I don't know what the regulations would look like. It's not just going in the use table and saying permitted. I believe that, just like accessory dwelling, I believe there needs to be certain regulations that, you need to be able to, provide off-street parking. You need to do, there's certain things, only a certain percentage of the house, or there's a lot of different things that are involved.
right, and I kind of understand why it was brought up or he started enforcing or going around no Airbnbs, because there is one in Stoughton where they Airbnb the entire house. So, and it looked like a pretty quiet neighborhood with a lot of nice houses, big houses. So I could see that as being something where they could be a disturbance, because they have a max guest policy of 14 people. So, I could see how Stoughton wouldn't want that, because they're going to have parties, a lot of people coming and going. So maybe the exception should be, they need to be owner occupied, like mine is.
You know what, we're not going to debate it tonight.
Sure.
I will give you my business card. And I would love any input, since you run one. I've stayed at them in various places in the country, but I would love your input as somebody that's run one that has a 4.999 rating for 2.5 years, to any ideas and concepts, because,
It's something that has to be addressed, because it's been around for a while.
And it's not just the one that has the 14 people policy. There was a building converted in the industrial district.
I heard about that.
And residences aren't even allowed. So there's more than just one. So.
Yep.
Okay, I appreciate that. I've exhausted my questions for now. I do think we might need to read a butter letter into the record.
September 1st, 2024, Jonathan and Pamela Bunker, neighbor directly across from 100 Nickerson Drive, Stoughton, Mass. Reference Glenn Rupp, case number 4314. Jonathan and Pamela Bunker are pleased to support Glenn Rupp at 101 Nickerson Drive in his bid to appeal the building inspector's decision. We confirm our willingness and support to allow an air bob in the lower section of his owner's occupied residence at 101 Nickerson Drive. Sincerely supporting neighbors Jonathan and Pamela Bunker. Okay. Jeff?
A lot of good points have been brought up by my fellow board members here, but if we do decide to continue this and to have further discussion, I'd like a little context, Mr. Chairman. So a couple questions I'd like to ask would be, what is the frequency with which this Airbnb is occupied, or conversely, what is the vacancy rate?
Sure, the vacancy rate on average is about 75%.
So that means that you typically have it occupied 1 week a month?
No, 75% occupied.
Okay, 3 weeks out of the month.
Correct, yep, on average, yes.
So good traffic flow through there. And then, I've heard a statement that there are several of these types of facilities. Rental opportunities. You just, in my knowledge, is the first person to appeal a decision on this. I guess, Mr. Chairman, through you to the planner, I mean, is there a sense of how many such units are perhaps in the town at any one time?
Sorry.
I do not know. I know that the code enforcement officer is the one that I don't know how this one got in front of him. I know that the one in the industrial area, somebody complained, and usually they're complaint driven. But I do not know. I do know that once that was done, the code enforcement officer started going online, and there are a lot of them. You can just go on Airbnb on your phone, and you can see there's a lot of them. Typically, I know that the code enforcement officer started wanting to start investigating these, and from a code enforcement standpoint, it's been recommended, that code enforcement needs to be complaint-driven, and that this is an issue that we clearly need to deal with. You know, we've had the conversation. That's, you know, when I got here, the use table and several other things in the code to address this and dozens. We get people coming up to our counter every day, and I get called in because my office is in the building department, and it's just like, well, this use is close to this and that, and so, you know, but as far as I know, short answer is there are dozens and dozens of these things, and they're typically, I believe the code enforcement officer is taking the position that I think he initiated some of these and then realized that it should be complaint-driven until we look at trying to regulate and get the code done.
So the statement that it should be complaint-driven, does that mean that there was a complaint that precipitated this?
I do not know. I don't believe.
No, when I spoke with the code enforcer when he came to my house, he said there wasn't any complaints on mine. He simply went online and saw it on the listing.
Yeah,
if you just pull up a map on Airbnb, zoom into Stoughton, all the listings will pop right up.
Right.
I've seen on average about 5 to 8 in Stoughton, you know. But yeah, that's how we found mine.
And I think after he started this process, we were like, you really need to, let's deal with complaint-driven, such as the one up in the industrial district, and work on revising the code. Once the code is revised, if there are standards, then we can go to everyone and say, you need to look at complying with these standards.
Okay.
Because it opens up a Pandora's box that...
Yeah, no, I see the dilemma, right, for both the petitioner and for the town at the same time. I mean, you know, I'm sure not everyone has such great ratings history, or, you know, the conditions under which they might occupy the residence, and, you know, I think Marguerite made a good, my colleague Marguerite made a good statement, like, you know, we need to make decisions based on what we're permitted to within the code. And so, I mean, it's not really clear to me what our path is here. And also, if we were to make a decision, what kind of opportunities would that open up for others in the town without a clear framework on which to evaluate and regulate those permits if we were to start doing that? And plus, not to mention, you know, town meeting rules and whatnot that have to go with that. Right. So,
yeah, unfortunately, from a code perspective, which is a lot what I do, it's prohibited. I don't see how you, and Marguerite kind of phrased it in a nice way, and I'll just phrase it in a blunt way. I don't see how you can permit a use that is specifically prohibited because it's not in the code. The one thing you could do is you could make a determination that it is a similar use to whatever in the code and allow it that way.
So almost like when in-laws first came about, or ADUs first came about, you can kind of treat it like that,
Yeah.
as, you know, they had to be owner occupied. And
another question, if I may. Have you thought about having a long-term tenant?
We've considered it, yes, and I'm pretty familiar with the new ADU laws that are coming out as well, because I have rental properties as well that I may be considering adding ADUs. So I've considered possibly maybe converting it to the ADU. Of course, that doesn't take effect till February, but yeah, I've considered it.
Okay, because I mean, there's also you know, permits that have been granted in the past around two-family conversions in this case, and I mean, I don't know if you meet the criteria for that, but if you're already 75% occupied, and you could just get one long-term tenant, I think it deals with a lot of the issues that surround with short-term rentals, right, around accountability and stability in the neighborhood, and so that might be an alternative to consider.
Yep.
But I mean, as for tonight, I'm not really prepared to make any kind of vote in the affirmative, especially without hearing from the building commissioner and, you know, their stance on this as well.
Sure. Was he supposed to be here tonight?
Jake, have any questions?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think he had the night off, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
That's what my understanding was, so.
I just don't see any path forward. I don't want to make a determination here and then have that open a Pandora's box of potentially bad Airbnbs becoming maybe a problem in this town. So I don't know if it's the best course of action for us to make any sort of determination like that. But it sounds like you're working on the code and updating it, so I think that's probably where we would want to go with this, but I don't have any questions personally for the petitioner.
Well, I don't have any questions. We've covered most of them. There are, I don't know whether an Air Bob in a bed and breakfast are the same, but it looks to me if you want to run this, you have to go before the planning board to get a special permit to do it.
No, Mr. Chairman, it's prohibited.
Oh, it's prohibited?
Correct, it is prohibited. What needs to be done is that the zoning bylaw needs to be changed to add Airbnb as a use and to add regulations on how to regulate them. That's what we have to do. And that is a long and arduous process. We've started revising and working on the use table, and we're going to be working on the accessory dwelling. And while we're doing that, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to look at addressing Airbnbs because the ADU law that was passed says specifically prohibits them as far as ADUs. And so when talking with legal counsel and the planning board chairman, I said, we need to look at establishing, you know, this is an issue. I knew this was an issue. It's just rather fortunate that I'm here tonight. So we're working on it. I do not know if we will have anything ready for the annual town meeting. It is my hope that and the use table and the accessory dwelling will have something, because the accessory dwelling takes place on February 2nd, and so you know we will look at addressing that. So we're hoping to address this, but that's not until May. So.
I guess in that case, we have to stick by the building inspector's decision.
Well, I certainly don't mind continuing this to get his opinion as well. I appreciate all of your feedback, Bill, and your update, because that's helpful.
Yeah, and he mentioned, the building commissioner mentioned he was going to be here, so I was kind of expecting him to be here, so I don't mind if we have to have another meeting with him here.
Yeah, the building commissioner had a family situation, so he's not here today and tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, I think that had been indicated, that might be a possibility at our last meeting, so. So I think, I don't mind continuing it. I also think that perhaps you could have a conversation with him between now and the next time that we put you on the agenda too, because, I mean, the issue is that we're being asked to address the appeal that you filed. But you know, we're limited with what the code tells us to do. Perhaps you and the building inspector can come up with a different plan of action around what Bill is suggesting, where this could be revised in a form of use that is somehow regulated. Under our code, I don't know, but I don't think that's something this board has any ability to try to do. It's being presented as an Airbnb. You're not disputing that it's an Airbnb use, and we don't have that use in here, and our hands are tied. And I agree with you, Jay, that I'm not comfortable coming up with this looks a lot like this use, because I don't know what else is out there in town. But the building department does. They might be able to talk to you around what options happen on an interim basis while this code is being revised. So my vote would be to make a motion to continue. I'm not sure whether the 19th is full, and if we need to look at the first meeting in October.
You have 3 items for the 19th, and most likely, probably, potentially a 4th.
What's our October date look like?
Your October 3rd agenda, you have 1 item.
So my thought would be to go to October. It still puts you within your appeal. You're still under appeal, so that keeps your status quo. It doesn't change anything for you. I think you've probably heard us say we feel like our hands are tied right now, but maybe something else gets presented to us at that time.
Sure.
So what is that date, Bill?
October 3rd.
October 3rd.
So I'll make a motion to continue to October 3rd,
Second.
7:32.
7:32 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's continued till October 3rd.
7:30?
You can,
7:32.
Thank you.
I think you can talk to the building inspector, but it probably won't do you much good.
Yeah, well, he's the one that,
But at least he can put you in the right direction.
right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Well,
You want to do the next case?
Mr. Crimmins, we just received these.
Yeah. So should I make a motion to open case number 4307?
What, yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I don't think we're going to be voting on this tonight, because we just received them.
No, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Attorney Barry R. Crimmins of 909 Washington Street, on behalf of the applicant, Hebrew Senior Life. No, we weren't expecting a vote tonight, certainly, as much as we would love to have one. Per our discussion last week, I think the question, the reason we asked that the matter be put on for tonight was to, depending on when you received the decision, what the decision looked like, et cetera, a determination would be made tonight as to when to continue the hearing to. In discussions this afternoon with Mr. Roth and Mr. Horsfall, I was advised that Gary would not be here tonight and is not available next week, and for various other reasons, including giving the board time to digest the decision, and there are still further revisions to be made. It looks like, unless my client who's sitting behind me tells me otherwise, that we would be looking to continue the public hearing to the board's meeting of October 19th. September, I'm sorry. Just making sure you're paying attention. September 19th. Freudian slip.
What's the wish of the board?
I don't have a problem continuing to September 19th. I just want to be clear that if we're not able to vote that night, my plan would be to talk to the board about another quick meeting after that, but not necessarily, I can't guarantee there will be a vote on the September 19th date.
Right. Thank you, I appreciate that.
We have a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do want to let you know the status of it is that was emailed to all the board members. I've given you single-sided copies, paper copies. The applicant has also received it and has submitted their attorney. I think their 40B attorney has looked at it and had some questions on some of the legal aspects, which I will then forward to Brian Winter. They also had some questions regarding more of the conditions on site plan review and clarifications. I'm meeting with Craig Horsfall, the assistant town engineer, tomorrow morning. We're going to go over those. Some of the clarifications we can make. Some of the recommendations are fine. Some are not, in our opinion. And then we will then. So it's my goal that by the beginning to middle of next week, we will have a revised copy, and I will use what's called track changes. So it will be the document you see here, and I'll have it in color, and it will show the changes that we've made, and the changes that we've agreed to and made. And then, so it's my goal that hopefully by the middle to end of next week, a draft the applicants looked at and is fine with, and that we are fine with, that you will have. I will let you know that probably 90% of the conditions, there's some clarifications and some debate. It's only on about 5 of them, maybe. So a vast majority of it is what you see is what we have, and then it's just, correcting it. And then I did, and I know, so we're not taking testimony, but I did submit in order to address the street issue, the sidewalk. As we said at the last hearing, we didn't feel that it was direct proportional. Staff is presented you with a memo that everyone can get, and you can discuss next week regarding, on the 19th, that we'll probably look at inserting as a typical condition, as a way to address that concern that was raised by the public. So no debate tonight, but I wanted you to know this is the direction that we as town staff are recommending, so that you can have it in advance.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I was remiss in thanking Mr. Roth he was good enough to forward a copy of the decision once he received it back from town council to us, so that, as he mentioned, we had an opportunity to start our review process and provide our initial edits to the draft decision. So the work has been going on very cooperatively between us and staff, and as Bill just mentioned, I think we're certainly, the document you have in front of you, I trust we're very close to finalizing, and hopefully we'll do so in a timely fashion, so that we hopefully will be ready to have the final document approved at the meeting on the 19th, if at all possible.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Do we need to read this into the record?
My thought, because Gary's not here, is why don't we wait, since the public hearing is technically still open, and we can read it into the record on the 19th.
Okay.
We'll be here on the 19th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We've received it. It is certainly available for the public if they want to see it. And any revisions that may be sent to us in the interim, Bill, will that be available to the public too if they want to go to the office to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not publishing that on the website because it's a work in progress, but it's a public document, it's in the file, or it's in our digital file, and I can print that.
Yeah, I think that's really the important piece here, is that we still have the public hearing open, and we'll need to, as part of our meeting on the 19th, we'll need to make sure that we receive any comments that the public might want to make to the proposed draft, as well as review this letter, and anything else that we might get submitted into the record between now and then. And then close the public hearing aspect of it, and then see where we're at with the decision, and, you know, see if we can make a vote, or if not, make a very quick turnaround. Well, I don't disagree that it looks like you're fairly close.
And the only other thing is we're working right now on the exhibits A and B. B is the waiver list, and which I feel is pretty much final. And Exhibit A is the correspondence list, and I've got to thank them. Instead of me doing it, I asked them to take the first stab, and then I've gotten that, and I will go through my file, and if there are any edits, I'll add. So you'll have that as well. So I can give you, when we send the revision next week, hopefully, which is the 99 or 95+% revision to you, I'll give you the exhibit attachment A and B, so you have literally everything in the totality to look at.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we continue this matter to September 19th at 7:30.
What day?
September 19th?
I thought you said December.
No, that wouldn't be very nice. September 19th at 7:36? What time do we have other things on for?
Make it 7:50. You have three of them now.
7:40.
You can continue.
I know, but this
You
is
do
our-
not have to
this is our
continue. You do not
protocol.
have to continue to time specific. It's 7:30, and you take it as the agenda
I
is done.
understand, but our protocol's always been to do that, so I'll say 7:40.
I'm just letting you know that you might want to consider revising that protocol.
Thank you.
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you on the 19th. Good night.
Did anybody get the decisions?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to open case number 4309.
Which one?
4309.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I wrote it, so I'm going to not make these motions, just
Okay.
someone else can.
So that means you have no comments on that? You want me to just
I
kind of run
don't,
through
but
them?
if anyone else does.
Okay.
Somebody like to make a motion to approve?
I would like to make a motion to approve the decision drafted for case 4309 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to open case number 4315.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think I'm okay with this.
Yeah, same thing. I wrote it, so I'm going to not make a motion.
Yeah.
I have no issues.
You're good? All right.
I'm good.
He can't, he's not on this.
Not yet.
40,
But he was an alternate on it. I'd like to make a motion to accept the decision for case number 4315 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to put the papers that Mr. Rupp gave me in with the decisions. Or do you want them yourself?
Yes, I was going to ask to have what Mr. Rupp gave you. If you want to put it in the decision folder, I will get it to Kristen.
Okay.
So, because, yeah, anything that's given as testimony here needs to be placed into the file.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess we're adjourned.